Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And it has finally happened. The army, upon which narrative it has been forcing its existence upon us, upon which narrative it has stood and ruled over us, upon which narrative this army has been bullying us, has been taking from us, stealing from us, expanding itself to be beyond a security organization. That narrative has been killed by the army itself. As they went into Kashmir and straight away started firing at peaceful protesting civilians. Up till now, 20 unconfirmed deaths have been announced. I mean, you can call it announced, or you can say have been, talked about. We're saying unconfirmed because officially, obviously, there is no confirmation, but unofficially, you can consider it confirmed because it is coming from somebody who enjoys a position in the government. And we are looking right now at our army acting in the exact same way that it blames India for acting in occupied Kashmir. Let us remember that Azad Kashmir is called Azad Kashmir because, on paper at least, Kashmir is not a part of Pakistan. Okay? It enjoys a sort of a relationship, a symbiotic relationship with Pakistan, where it is given army protection. Now, note that on paper, Kashmir is basically supposed to be given army protection by the government of Pakistan against India, but Kashmir actually is not supposed to be a part of Pakistan. Okay, it is an autonomous state. It is an autonomous state that has its own government. It has its own election dates, which was supposed to be yesterday, by the way. And it has its own way of doing things. The only thing that they enjoy is that they can enjoy the privileges of a Pakistani citizen. For example, they have unfiltered access to our universities, although they have their own. They have unfiltered access to jobs. They have they have everything that they're on paper. They're supposed to have everything that any normal Pakistani citizen would have as a right or a privilege in Pakistan. But they are not a province of Pakistan. They are not a part of Pakistan as such. They are an autonomous state, I repeat. It's very much like how FATA used to be. You had they were federally autonomous, and it was a tribal area. These were all tribal areas put together under tribal authority. And they only decided to become a part of Pakistan officially a few years ago when they became a part of KPK. Okay? And then we have Balochistan that is constantly fighting with our army. That wasn't enough. KPK now is fighting with the army. The PTI government in KPK is being constantly harassed, not allowed to do their job. The army is constantly interfering over there because the army wants to collapse the government so that the army can replace that government with the army's own people. Now we're saying army, obviously, because the people who are at the forefront are the army. Obviously, behind them, as I said before, there's a chain of command. So behind them, you have Nawaz Sharif and Zardari, and behind them, you have the American establishment, and behind them, you have the British establishment. But the people on ground, the people at the forefront, the people doing the fighting, the people doing the dirty work, the people doing the heavy load, that's the army. So obviously the blame will be on the army. And please don't now come at me with that stupid sorry-ass excuse saying, oh, it's not the army, it's just a few generals. It's not a few generals. Don't come to me again talking about how there's a hierarchy and a command system. No. I've said it a million times that according to Islamic military law, and again, our constitution, Pakistan's constitution very clearly states that any and every law or rule or principle that goes against the Islamic rules and laws and principles are automatically void. Forget Islam at this point, even. Generally, even under military law, hierarchy or no hierarchy, a command chain or no command chain. But if a senior officer commands you to do something that you know is a clear violation of your actual job or a clear violation of, human rights, again, pertaining to your job, which is protecting those very human beings, then you immediately withdraw. You refuse that order. The American army refused Trump when he wanted them to come on ground and act pretty much the same way our army is acting with us. That they should go and they should physically control the American public and basically impose a sort of a partial martial law under Trump's administration. They refused. Why? Because they said we have no involvement in civilian affairs and we are not allowed to exercise our martial law or to exercise whatever it is that we do towards our own civilians. We're not allowed to attack our own civilians. We're not allowed to intimidate our own civilians. We're not allowed to do any of those things that you want us to do against our own civilians. We're not allowed to even interfere within the state. Because they have one job, and that is to man the borders. Their job is to protect the country. They are a security organization. But look at our army. The American government tells them, oh, now you have to go after Kashmir. So they're going after Kashmir. Why the American government here? I'll tell you. Because basically, remember, I told you that this time when the government comes, they will brutally, sadistically, and desperately work very quickly. And so there will be no pretenses involved. Like how Trump has removed all pretenses. He is now butt naked clear in front of the whole world, telling everybody that this is the American agenda. This is what we're working on. We don't have time for narratives. We don't have time for stories. This is what it is. And this is exactly what our government is doing, because as I said, this is the completion. This is the culmination of their decades-old mission or project. So, according to that mission, according to the British mission, colonies have to come back under its fold and full control. And it is towards that end that now they are forcing a wrap-up. This is the final stage. The government here in Pakistan was brought here to wrap things up so that they can finally proceed towards their war using Pakistan completely and fully as a part of their own country, where they can fully control and use our soil and people and resources. So the fight in Balochistan is about resources. It always was. It's just that the army has been fooling the rest of the country, saying, oh, it's BLA and it's Kashmir, it's India and this and that. And now in Kashmir also, the army, despite the fact that in front of the whole world, the army just marched into Kashmir and fired upon its citizens, killing quite a number of them and injuring a whole lot of them. Again, numbers are not being disclosed because they have shut down the internet. They have shut down the media over there. They've censored everything. And they are literally on the ground. They are killing people. The same way they did in Islamabad. The same way they did in Muridke. The same way they did in Lahore when they attacked the people of Lahore when the people came out for a peaceful protest. Difference is that in Lahore they hadn't yet started killing people. They started it with Islamabad, and now in Muridke, and then in Kashmir. That throws away their whole narrative. The whole reason for the existence of the Pakistani army was the Kashmir narrative. The enmity with India was again Kashmir. The funding that the army kept on and on stealing away from us, from the rest of the country, hoarding all of those resources, Kashmir. So right now they just marched into Kashmir, the very territory that they have been using as an excuse for their existence, that they have to protect it, that they have to, that they have to man it, that they have to help it, and this and that Kashmir is, UN resolution, right to self-determination, blah, blah, blah. And here right now with their own hands, they just killed the narrative. They just killed the narrative. And we are sitting here and we're going to still let them exist. The very reason for their existence has now ended. Understand that. The very reason for the existence of this army has ended, and the army ended it itself by marching into that same territory that it had professed, that it had claimed to protect, and just now have killed so many people, injured so many people. Why? Because they want to exercise their right to vote their own government. And they voted. They voted for Imran Khan. Once again, PTI's government wins in Kashmir. Once again, this was a complete repeat of February 2024. Okay? They closed polling stations. Yes, they actually closed polling stations in Kashmir to stop people from voting, because this was an overwhelming turnout again of people. People are peacefully telling you what they want. They're peacefully, all over Pakistan, people are constantly peacefully telling you what they want. And in return, you have decided that that means that we're so weak that now you can start shooting at us. I ask the people of KPK again, remember when you had a conflict with the army and with the police, and you said that it's easy if only one side has guns. But what will happen if the other side will also pick up guns? I ask you, when will the other side pick up guns? You do realize that you need monsters to deal with monsters. You have to become a mad person to deal with a mad person. According to Mohit Pirzada, Imran Khan sat in front of no less than 10 journalists when he said that he had warned Bajwa not to ever allow Asim Munir to take this position because he is a psychopath and he seems to be emotionally disturbed. Well, obviously he is a psychopath and he is emotionally disturbed. We can see that, because I'll come back now to logics of why people are desperate, why people like Asim Munir exist, why people like Nawaz Sharif and family exist, why people like Zardari exist. These are people who have lived without a silver spoon. They were born without a silver spoon. These were people who lived beyond or beneath or just within poverty lines. These were people who were so desperate to make money and to make it in life that they would do anything and everything just to become a part of the society that they never felt they could be a part of. And these people, no matter how much they earn, no matter how rich they get, they will always feel that inferiority complex. They will always feel they aren't yet there. And the fear of going back to that level of desperation, of poverty, that is what keeps them going. This is why we have these idioms that we have in Punjabi. Bhukhi di dhi rajit khe udaan lagi. Thode ch bahta pੈ gaya. They're there for a reason. Okay? Asim Munir was nothing. He still is nothing. He had to marry into money. Now he has to have an affair with Maryam Nawaz in order to get to where he is right now. Now he has to go around shooting and killing people in order to make sure that his position stays. Remember how I explained that in the past, when noble clans or noble men or noble families when they picked out people from amongst slaves and gave them the power or the authority to get jobs done on their behalf, the first thing that those slaves did was ruthlessly beat their own people, because that was one of the first jobs that they were given to prove their loyalty. And then they continued trotting down on those people who basically are from their own original socioeconomic status, because looking at those people remind them of where they are from and where they can go back to. And then they start getting rid of those people so that there should be nobody who remembers their humble origins. This is the psychology of giving somebody power without merit, without qualification. And that is why power corrupts. And that is why absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I ask you again, Punjab is dead and shameless. Sindh is dead and shameless. This is once again a huge opportunity for the whole of Pakistan to get up and get out and issue a nationwide shutdown and protest against the army, against the government, asking them that why is it that you made us suffer for decades, claiming that it is all for the protection of Pakistan, it's all for the protection of Kashmir, only to go and attack Kashmir yourself. The narrative is broken. What are you doing? Why are you existing anymore? The country right now needs to stand up. I've said it before that if anything happens in this country, if there's any movement, it will come from the north. And you can see it. Gilgit-Baltistan, Kashmir, KPK, Balochistan. Do you see any movement from Punjab and Sindh? You know why it is so easy for governments to come into Punjab and Sindh? Because Punjab and Sindh are enslaved. Mentally, financially, socially, we're brainwashed, we're enslaved. The northern areas, you know why they're always having problems? They're politically aware. They have conscious minds. They're very politically aware, very politically conscious, and they have a conscience. These people are still fighting. They never stopped. They were kept in a position where they had to keep on fighting. The Balochis had to keep on fighting for their rights, for their resources. The Kashmiris are already fighting because on one end they have the other half of Kashmir occupied by India. They're fighting that. And then on the other hand, they have to keep up with their right to self-determination. And they never ever had a problem with Pakistani government or with Pakistan until now. Remember, during Imran Khan's time, Gilgit-Baltistan actually showed an interest in becoming a province, an official province of Pakistan. And this was almost done. But when this government came, just within 2 years, Gilgit-Baltistan said, we're actually now thinking that we should completely separate ourselves from Pakistan. For the first time now, Kashmiris are also saying this. Until even 3 years ago, the Kashmiris were not saying this. The Balochis are already saying this, that if this is going to go on, then we'd rather not be a part of it. When was the whole country united under Imran Khan? What are all these provinces fighting for even today? To get back Imran Khan. Think about this. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.